Welcome. This is D.L. Hughes from velocitywriting.com, where you learn to write with speed, passion, purpose, and profitability. The stories of Edgar Allan Poe still scare the bejesus out of people today, nearly 200 years after they were written. Why is he so popular? Well, we're going to dig into that soon. Poe is a name synonymous with eerie tales and haunting poetry. His works are celebrated for their gothic themes, psychological depth, and masterful use of language. But beyond the dark stories lies a fascinating life filled with both triumphs and tragedies, offering valuable insights for writers today. We're going to discover the writing secrets of Edgar Allan Poe right now. I'm glad you're here to learn techniques from Edgar Allan Poe's writing methods. If you get value, please like, share, and subscribe. Comments are always welcome. Who was Edgar Allan Poe? We really can't understand Poe's writing until we know something of the milestones in his life. He was born in 1809 in Boston. His parents, both actors, died when he was young, leaving him in the care of John and Frances Allen of Richmond, Virginia. Poe's foster father provided him with a good education, but their relationship was loaded with conflict, particularly over money and Poe's career choices. We often think of Poe as an offbeat alcoholic, but few realize he had a military career and he briefly attended West Point. Poe's personal life was marked by tragedy and loss. He married his cousin Virginia Clem in 1836. She was just 13 years old. She died from tuberculosis in 1847, and it deeply affected Poe, and his own health began to decline. His mysterious death in 1849, under circumstances that remain unclear, added a final tragic note to his life story. Poe's unique writing perspectives. People today think of Poe in terms of his macabre writing, but in truth, he had a wide range. He was an editor for some notable American periodicals in his era, like the Southern Literary Messenger and Graham's Magazine. He was fascinated by science and wrote serious articles on scientific topics, as well as pioneering the science fiction genre. He wrote serious essays and satire, too. Why is he remembered best for his scary stories? That's a powerful question, and the answer, I think, touches on something primal in all of us. Poe explored the human psyche. Poe's stories endure because they tap into the deepest, darkest corners of the human psyche. He didn't just write about spooky castles or black cats. He wrote about guilt that echoes in your ears, like in The Telltale Heart, about grief so intense it blurs reality, like The Raven, and about the feeling that madness is just one heartbeat away, like in The Black Cat and The Fall of the House of Usher. Here's one essential thing to know about Poe's terrifying stories and why they endure today. His horror wasn't external. It was internal, and that's what makes it timeless. Monsters in Poe's work aren't always clawed or fanged. Often they live inside us. His writing forces readers to face their own psychological shadows, the ones we usually don't look at in the daylight. Another reason, he understood atmosphere. Poe could take a single candlelit room and make it feel like a tomb. His rhythmic language also builds a sense of inevitable doom. It's like hearing footsteps behind you that never quite stop. And here's the kicker: Poe's themes are still our themes of fear of being buried alive, obsession, isolation, guilt, and the fragility of the human mind. We might have smartphones now, but our core fears are still pretty much the same as they were 200 years ago. Poe simply had the courage to put them on the page and stare them down. So, yes, his stories still scare us because they remind us who we are when the lights go out. Poe explored offbeat topics for his time. One of those topics was crime. Poe is often credited with inventing the detective fiction genre with his character C. Auguste Dupin in The Murders in the Rue Morgue in 1841. Dupin's logical reasoning and analytical skills laid the groundwork for future literary detectives, including Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes. Poe's innovation in this genre demonstrated his versatility as a writer and his ability to captivate readers with complex, intriguing plots. Selected writings. What can we learn as writers from Poe? There's a master class in trying to answer that question, but let me highlight key elements of three of his works. Of course, the first is The Raven. It was published in 1845 and is perhaps Poe's most famous work. This narrative poem tells the story of a man mourning the loss of his beloved Lenore and his descent into madness as he converses with a mysterious raven. The poem's melancholic tone, haunting refrain, and masterful use of meter and rhyme make it a standout piece in American literature. Its exploration of grief and loss, combined with its musical quality, has made it a timeless classic. The poem has tremendous psychological impact. Many think the Lenore of the poem was about the death of his wife, Virginia. If so, it was anticipatory anguish and grief because she did not die until about 2 years after he wrote it. Then we have The Telltale Heart. It's a short story that exemplifies Poe's ability to delve into the human mind. The narrator, driven by paranoia and guilt, describes his meticulous plan to murder an old man, and it describes his subsequent descent into madness. The story's psychological intensity, combined with the suspenseful plot and vivid imagery, showcase Poe's skill in creating a gripping, unsettling narrative. The Telltale Heart is worthy of study just to see the nuts and bolts of how he put together ideas and words that have the power to disrupt the reader's emotion. Then there is The Fall of the House of Usher. This short story is the perfect example of Poe's Gothic style. It tells the tale of the last members of the Usher family and the mysterious decaying mansion they inhabit. The story's rich descriptions, eerie atmosphere, and explorations of themes such as family conflicts, isolation, and madness make it a standout work. The symbolic use of the house as a reflection of the character's mental states adds a layer of complexity that continues to fascinate readers. Read the short story to see how Poe handles description, and particularly how he connects inanimate objects to human behavior. I've already suggested things to look for in Poe's writing, but let me take another step and suggest 3 things from Poe that will change your writing perspective no matter what your genre may be. First, embrace the power of atmosphere. Poe's works are renowned for their atmospheric quality. Modern writers can learn from his ability to create a vivid, immersive world that draws in readers. Pay attention to setting, mood, and tone, and use descriptive language to build a compelling atmospheric backdrop for your stories. A strong atmosphere can enhance your narrative and captivate your audience regardless of your genre. This writing technique is definitely not limited to horror or mystery. Explore psychological themes. Poe's exploration of the human mind and emotions adds a profound depth to his stories. In your writing, don't shy away from delving into complex psychological themes, whether it's fear, guilt, madness, or love. Exploring these emotions can create a powerful, relatable narrative that resonates with readers. Use your own experiences and observations to add authenticity and depth to your characters and plots. Innovate within your genre. Poe was a pioneer in his time, particularly with his creation of detective science and psychological fiction. You can take inspiration from his willingness to innovate and push the boundaries of established genres. Don't be afraid to experiment with new ideas, structures, and styles in your writing. Innovation can set your work apart and capture the interest of readers and publishers alike. Embrace the legacy of Edgar Allan Poe. Be like Poe. Create atmospheric, psychologically rich narratives and embrace his willingness to innovate within genres. Study Poe's works to understand how he balances precision and emotion. Analyze a short story or poem and break down its elements. Experiment with creating tension in your writing. Write a short scene where mood and setting are as important as dialogue or action. Then reflect on your own creative struggles and how they fuel your art. Write a piece inspired by your experiences, turning personal pain into universal truths. Delve deep into the human psyche, create vivid and immersive worlds, and don't be afraid to push the boundaries of your chosen genre. Have a great writing day.